Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are getting right to the heart of cybersecurity. We're going to break down three concepts that are really the foundation of everything: assets, threats, and attacks. Stick with me because by the end of this, you're going to see the digital world through a whole new and much clearer lens. So, before we even start talking about hackers or viruses or any of those spooky digital dangers, we have to take a step back and ask a really basic question. In this massive digital universe we live in, what is actually valuable? I mean, what are we trying to protect in the first place? Well, in the world of cybersecurity, anything that has value is called an asset. And look, this is a simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful. An asset isn't just about, money or big company secrets. Nope, it's any resource, any capability that matters to you or your business and is worth protecting. And these assets, they pretty much fall into four main buckets. First up, you've got your hardware. This is the physical stuff you can touch: your laptop, your phone, the massive servers humming away in a data center. Then there's the software, all the operating systems and apps that actually make the hardware useful. Then, of course, you have the data itself. This is the juicy stuff: your files, your databases, your emails. And finally, you have the communication networks, the whole web of routers, cables, and Wi-Fi signals that connects everything together. Okay, so now that we know what we're protecting, our assets, we can finally start talking about the dangers they face. And this is where we need to get really clear on two of the most important words in this entire field: threats and attacks. They sound kind of similar, right? But the difference between them is absolutely crucial. A threat is just the potential for something bad to happen. I want you to think of it like a dark storm cloud gathering on the horizon. The danger is there, right? A possible security breach is looming, but it hasn't actually started raining yet. It's a danger that might exploit a weakness. An attack, on the other hand, well, that's the threat in motion. That's the lightning strike coming down from that storm cloud. An attack is the actual assault, the deliberate action someone takes to get past security and cause some real harm. It's the threat being put into action. Now, attacks themselves can be split into two main types. First, you have a passive attack. This is all about spying. Think of it like someone eavesdropping on your conversation. The attacker just wants to learn information, maybe read your emails as they fly across the network, but they don't actually change anything. But an active attack, that's all about interference. Here, the goal is to alter something, to delete files, mess with your data, or even shut a server down completely. So we've got these core ideas, right? We have valuable assets we want to protect, we have potential threats hanging over them, and we have active attacks that make those threats real. But how do they all connect? What's the missing link? What allows a threat to actually become a successful attack? That missing link, that bridge, is called a vulnerability. It's that simple. A vulnerability is just a flaw or a weakness. It could be a bug in a piece of software, a server that's not set up correctly, or honestly, even a person who's just a little too trusting. It's the unlocked door that an attacker can walk right through. And this, right here, this pulls it all together. This is the cybersecurity cause and effect chain. And this is the aha moment. This five-step chain isn't just some textbook diagram. This is the exact mental model that security pros use every single day. It starts with an owner who values their assets. Then, threat agents, hackers, malware, that kind of thing, they pose threats. These agents carry out attacks, which take advantage of vulnerabilities. And the end result of this entire chain is risk. And that's the whole point, right? Risk is what this is all about. It's the expectation of loss. It's the probability that a specific threat is going to successfully use a particular vulnerability to do some damage to your assets. At its core, managing cybersecurity is really just the practice of managing risk. Okay, I know that might still feel a little bit abstract, so let's make it super concrete. Let's look at some clear, real-world examples of how different threats can affect all those different types of assets we talked about. This table breaks it down perfectly. It looks at three main security goals. You've got confidentiality, which just means keeping secrets secret. You've got integrity, which is about making sure your data is trustworthy and hasn't been tampered with. And availability, which means you can actually get to your stuff when you need it. So, for example, look at that hardware row. If your laptop gets stolen, that's a threat to its availability. You can't use it anymore, right? But if that laptop wasn't encrypted, it's also a huge threat to confidentiality. Or look at the data row. If someone gets in and modifies your files, that's a direct attack on your data's integrity. See how each asset faces a different combination of risks? And these threats show up as all kinds of different attacks or cyber crises that you've probably heard of. We're talking malicious code like viruses and worms, phishing attacks that try to trick you into giving up your password, or denial of service attacks that just flood a website with so much traffic that it crashes. These are all real-world methods attackers use to exploit those vulnerabilities.
Okay, so we've defined the problem. We get it. We have assets, there are threats, and there are attacks. So what in the world do we do about it? Understanding the problem is always step one, for sure. But what's step two?
The answer to that is a countermeasure. A countermeasure is simply anything you do to fight back. It's any action, any device, any procedure or technique you use to reduce a threat, patch a vulnerability, or stop an attack in its tracks. It could be your antivirus software, a firewall, a better password policy, or even just training people to not click on suspicious links. And one of the most powerful defensive strategies out there is something called defense in depth. The idea is simple, but it's genius. Security shouldn't be a single wall that can be broken down. It should be a series of layers. If one layer fails, another one is right there behind it to stop the attack. You don't just lock your front door. You have locks, an alarm system, and maybe even a guard dog. That's defense in depth. So there you have it. You now have the framework. You understand that protecting yourself or your company, it all starts with figuring out what's valuable. From there, you can understand the potential threats, you can spot the vulnerabilities, and you can build a layered defense to manage the risk. This applies to giant corporations, and it applies to your own personal data. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. What are your most valuable digital assets, and what's your first line of defense?